Hey, everybody.
What's happening?
Welcome back to Kicking It with the Smiths.
One more again. Oh, that's the one more again.
Hey, that's old school.
One more again.
We are here today. We're going to talk about the Dana and Lonnie infertility story.
Yeah, we brought it up during the last video,
We
so
did.
we thought we would just go ahead and share the rest of that story as we talked a little bit about it in the last video with the dedication, right? We talked about dedication.
We talked about the dedication.
Yep.
And we're going to do a little bit of biblical history and conversation and a little bit more about dedication. And so we going to dive right in. So before we do that, though,
like,
share,
subscribe,
all of the above.
Yep.
Like, share, subscribe. Kicking It with the Smiths. So, where you want to start, boo?
We'll start from the beginning. We may not get through it all, tonight, this episode,
it might
today.
Be part 1 and a part 2.
It might be, but we'll start at the beginning. I guess we should start by, we talk about communication a lot, so I think we should talk about like when we got engaged, as we were dating, we got engaged. We told y'all about that. That's a couple videos back. Check it out. That we had talked about having a family, even then, and we both wanted a family.
We did. When we first started dating, somebody swears that this is not what they said.
I did not.
But they wanted like 5 kids.
I never said I needed 5 kids.
They said they would.
I was like, hey, I'm thinking like, maybe 3 or 4.
It was 5.
Like 5 would have been like max. But
because when he said 5, I was like, I don't know about that.
I wasn't even trying to have no 5. So that she says I said that. I don't recall that, but we just have agreed to disagree on that.
We have, and we ended up with 2. So it was a big conversation while we're dating, while we're engaged, and even as we were going through marriage counseling. It was a big conversation. One of the questions that our pastor asked us was, well, what happens if y'all can't have children together?
Yeah.
And because we were head over heels, we were like, we're just going to adopt because we're going to be together. We're just going to adopt.
But we did have conversation about it. Like we did have sober conversation about it. I also want to do a plug. Do premarital counseling.
Yes.
Do premarital counseling.
Yes.
One more time. Do premarital counseling. Actually do the work. Prepare.
Yes.
Take the feedback. Work it. It helps you.
It will help you.
Give you tools. Help you reveal some things. Help you start working on some things.
Yes.
All of that stuff.
It will help you.
All right, go ahead. I'm sorry. I just wanted to plug that.
It's okay because it helped us. So.
I think I still got the recordings.
Really?
I don't think I never got rid of them.
That'd be dope to hear those now. Like, it'd be real dope to hear those. So we'll kind of pick back up. We got married in 2011, and we knew that we did not want to start a family immediately. So we talked about it, and we were like, well, let's just get through our first year of marriage. Let's make things happen with just us.
Enjoy that marital bliss.
Yes, enjoy your marital bliss. Your newlywed. Your first year of marriage. Enjoy it to the fullest. And that's what we strive to do. We had some ups and downs, some hiccups, some learning curves, but we were
some immediate trials and tribulations.
Yes, and we can talk about that later.
Yeah, that's a whole nother podcast.
Whole nother live. But we knew that with our first year of marriage was not when we wanted to start a family. So went through year 1. Went through even year 2.
Yeah.
But in the midst of year 2, we did say, you know what? Year 3, let's do it. Let's start a family.
We did.
And, our finances were a little more in line, and we were a little more
You start to bounce back.
Yeah, we started to bounce back, and we were more on the same page. So we were like, you know what? Let's roll with it. Let's do it. So 2013 came, and stopped with the contraceptive. And you know, we were like, you know what? Probably take about 6 months to, you know, for your body to reset itself after the contraceptive. So that's cool. We on the path. We can do this.
Yeah.
So 2013 happened. Nothing.
Nope.
2014. Nothing.
And we were trying.
We were trying desperately. Like,
well, not at 2013, but 2014. Like it was more than just like practice. It was intentional practice. Let me just say it. Like there was intent of. It was still enjoyable.
It was,
but it
was just intentional.
It was.
So 2015, we were like, okay, so this is not happening. What is going on? I was like, well, I'm gonna start, you know, going to the doctor, talking to my doctor about it.
Yeah.
See, can we figure this out?
You sure did.
So we did the initial test. Nothing was wrong. Okay, what's up? Nothing's wrong. So they're like, well, maybe you just need help ovulating. You've been on birth control for a while. Maybe your body just needs help ovulating.
Yeah.
So we get on this medication. I can't remember.
I don't remember the name, but I do remember that we got on it. Yeah.
And you can only do it for like 6 months at a time.
Yeah.
So we get on it, and they're like, oh, you're ovulating now. But still nothing's happening.
Yep.
So we finished that 6 month round, and they're like, well, let's run some more tests. But let's start with your husband.
Yep.
So Dana got some tests done.
Did the test.
Dana was fine.
Y'all know the test we're talking about. Did the test.
Dana was fine.
Can I just say that, like, I'm going to just be real, 100.
Go ahead, be real. That's what this is about.
I was not, I did the test because we wanted to be sure and to check it off. It was not like I looked forward to the test.
He didn't.
Did not.
At all.
Did not look forward to the test. It's not painful. It's just that's not something that you are trying to do. But did the test, and the test came back, and they were like,
"Test was good.
Hey, everything is good. If the numbers is good, all the functions are functioning." I'm like, oh,
okay,
praise the Lord. Yeah.
So I continue being tested. I can't remember how many tests I had.
It was a couple of them. It was several. It was not more.
Yeah, it was at least 3 before the final hospital test.
Yeah, it was.
When I went to the hospital, they did a test at the hospital, and they were like, everything is fine.
Yeah.
So there was no explanation for why it wasn't working.
There was no conception.
Yeah, there was no conception, and there was no explanation for it.
I mean, because by that time, you had become very sensitive and aware to your body's operations and functions and the timing and the cycles.
Yep.
So there was very much intentionality into it because at that point you knew between all the testing and your research and all your education of educating yourself on it.
Yes.
So it wasn't like, we were like, all right, well, hey man, this is 2016, we're like 2016, 20, maybe 2016, 2016. Yeah.
So we were just like, you know what? It is what it is.
Well, what did it for me was when the last thing they said to you. So when you went the last time and they're like, hey, everything's fine, but we could do this procedure. It was invasive procedure. They're talking about.
It's going to be exploring.
Just exploratory. We're going to cut here and cut there and just check. And I was like, pause. If you told me that I'm fine and my wife is fine, we not just going to be guess cutting here.
We ain't doing no invasive.
Then that means we're fine. And I'm going to believe, and we're going to believe. I said because in my mind, I just get dogmatic. It's like, we just going to believe God.
And I was trying not to be discouraged.
That this is going to work because if there's no explanation and both of us are fine, then okay, God, I am applying my faith, and you have said that we were going to have kids through several prophecies.
Oh yeah, we forgot about that.
Oh, the prophecies we were given about
prophesied to about kids from
since
even before we were married.
Like, we were engaged. Yeah, it was kids and
you're gonna have twins.
Yes,
you're gonna have kids, and you're gonna be fruitful and multiply.
Right.
You don't have anything to worry about, and we're just like, okay, God, where are that prophecy at now?
I mean,
where is the coming to pass of the prophecy?
And it wasn't, and we were.
He was dogmatic, and I was discouraged. I ain't gonna lie.
It wasn't that I wasn't challenged. It was like, then okay, then this requires a miracle. This requires faith, because if man can't figure it out, and we're both fine, and we living right as much as we can, and growing in God, and we doing what we need to do, then okay, Lord, then all right, then you got to do this.
Be on you.
It's all on you. You got to do this, because we clearly
it's not just working with just us.
So do what you do.
This is where the story of Hannah comes in, a portion of Hannah's story. So I have my husband's, because mine is upstairs. I have my husband's handy dandy Bible.
I mean, everybody can use the Bible. We have several Bibles right now.
We do, but I have his available. And 1 Samuel chapter 1 talks about Elkanah.
Yeah.
Elkanah and his family. So it says, now there was a certain man of, y'all don't talk about me in these pronunciations, Ramathaim Zophim of Mount Ephraim, and his name was Elkanah, the son of Jeroham, the son of Elihu, the son of Tohu, the son of Zuph, an Ephrathite. And he, speaking of Elkanah, had 2 wives. The name of one was Hannah, and the name of the other was Peninnah. And Peninnah had children, but Hannah had no children.
Mm-hmm.
And this man went up out of his city yearly to worship and sacrifice unto the Lord of hosts in Shiloh. And the 2 sons of Eli, Hophni and Phinehas, the priests of the Lord, were there. And when the time was that Elkanah offered, he gave to Peninnah his wife, and to all her sons and her daughters portions. But unto Hannah he gave a worthy portion, for he loved Hannah, but the Lord had shut up her womb. Shut up her womb. I felt that way down in my sanctified soul.
Well, I mean, I know when we were going through, you were like, yeah, it was tough to be a young married couple, and that to be one of your goals, and to be going through that, and then see together and see your spouse go through that. It's tough, because I mean, that's a big part of your relationship. So it was a big issue within our marriage.
It was.
And I don't think that we blamed each other, because I didn't blame you, but it was a big thing that you were dealing with on a day-to-day basis. Like, you have the weight in that elephant in the room, and it's like,
here we go. And then on top of that, you got the family and friends and the co-workers all like, well, y'all been married X amount of years. When y'all gonna have some kids? Why y'all don't have kids yet?
Where the babies at? Where my babies at?
And it's, you see the Facebook post and the Instagram posts and all the stuff of people saying, stop asking couples when they're having kids. You don't know what they're going through. You don't know if they want to have kids. You don't know if they can have kids. And the burden that is placed on people with those types of questions is daunting.
Say that, honey. Yeah.
It's very daunting. So,
because you put pressure on yourself, and then you have the outside pressure of trying to
please everybody,
family and just society, right? And so you have this idea in your mind about raising a Christian family. So it's a lot.
It really is. And then on top of that, as a woman, as you start to get older, like we know in our minds, we have a biological clock.
Mm.
Like we know for men, they can produce kids their whole life. But for us, if you haven't produced by a certain age or whatnot, it's like, what is happening? So those questions became daunting and
Yeah.
frustrating and irritating. But for me personally, the story of Hannah was always my encouragement and where I drew from to keep the faith and
Mm.
know that it would happen. And even if it didn't happen the way I thought it was supposed to happen, that God at the end of the day is still in the miracle working business.
Say that. Okay then. Preach your sermon. Give your
You
testimony.
the preacher.
No.
Yeah, you are.
But no, I mean I felt like, you know, Lord, you're gonna do it for our family one way or another. And because the important thing for me and I know for us was having a family together.
Mm-hmm.
Like I wasn't so bent on I gotta have kids. So all right, you can't have no kids. And then it was like, no, God, this is my wife.
We want to do this together.
Together we're gonna do this. So, you know, make a way. And again, we doing all of that, and even those questions, it's hard because people don't know, and sometimes you share with some people, but everybody doesn't know the struggle, and everybody at that time didn't know
At all.
like maybe a couple people knew, but then people found out later as we went into the story. We'll tell y'all,
As
but
we testify or,
yeah, but in these stages that we were talking about, like people didn't really know because we were also finding out information as we went to the doctor and as we were praying, and so we believe in God at the same time. But so it's we were just going through that, and that's why I know that we are more sensitive to that. Through that we became more sensitive to that.
Yes.
And we met and knew other people that had similar situations.
Yes.
We had friends that had
Yes.
some situations, people that we met through jobs and work that had similar situations, with them having kids or having trouble. So we became sensitive to that. So we don't ask that question. We don't do that because we realize there's a lot that goes into that. Everybody doesn't get married and go boom in year
Baby's
one.
on the way.
Baby's on the way. Some people go through a lot.
Exactly.
Just to get the one child, the second child that they have.
Exactly.
Mm.
So, picking back up at verse 6, and her adversary, which was her spouse's other wife,
Mm-hmm.
also provoked her sore or to make her fret because the Lord has shut up her womb. And as he did so, year by year, when she went up to the house of the Lord,
Mm-hmm.
so she provoked her. Therefore she wept and did not eat.
Mm.
Then said Elkanah her husband to her, Hannah, why weepest thou? And why eatest thou not? And why is thy heart grieved? Am I not better to thee than 10 sons? So I'm gonna chime in right there. So I think that as women, we sometimes guilt ourselves when we aren't able to, or when we don't think that we're able to fulfill all the needs of our spouse.
Mm.
But I have learned
Yeah.
in
Okay.
being married to my husband for 12 years that only God can meet our every need, right? Like, I can do everything in my power to satisfy you, but there's always going to be some small percentage that only God can satisfy.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
everything is not my responsibility to satisfy with my husband, but I do what I can and allow God to do the rest.
Say that. Yeah. Oh, look, let me get my notes over here. Take no, but it's true, and I am so I'm her biggest number one fan. But it's correct. And for me, on the flip side, I had to recognize and learn that to put the right expectations on myself, her, and God. Put them in the right categories. Like, not to try to make her God or try to make her responsible to fulfill something that was really an issue with me or that I need to be getting from him. Like, she's my wife. She's not my God.
Exactly.
Not my total sustainer.
Exactly.
That's different. So it's like, oh, wait, hold up, slow your roll. Why you upset for? Like, who's supposed to?
Exactly.
Like, that's not her role to do. Me and you supposed to be feeling that portion of you, dealing with your identity and whatnot. And like, if you gotta, I'll try to leave it alone. But let me just say this: is that rejection is a the spirit of rejection that people and have being rejected is a big deal.
That's a whole nother episode.
And I'm gonna try to leave it alone, but it'll affect you and your relationships, especially your marriage, so much. And we'll talk about rejection and orphan spirit like later. But
yeah,
so you gotta you have to get into God to be able to him reveal to you how you are, and not like you talking about putting the right expectations on each other and know what it is to you need to fulfill and whatnot, and just trust God to be like, okay, hey, God, I've done as what I could do as a wife or a husband.
You got to do the rest.
That's between you and them.
Yeah,
you the source, not me.
Not me. You better go on over there.
Hey, you started that thing.
So, verse 9. So, Hannah rose up after they had eaten in Shiloh and after they had drunk. Now, Eli the priest sat upon a seat by a post of the temple of the Lord, and she was in bitterness of soul and prayed unto the Lord and wept sore. And she vowed a vow and said, O Lord of hosts, if thou wilt indeed look on the affliction of thine handmaid, and remember me, and not forget thine handmaid, but would give unto thine handmaid a man child, then I will give him unto the Lord all the days of his life, and there shall no razor come upon his head. So we gonna cut the scriptural reference there. But the one thing that I can say that, and I don't, my husband knows this. My husband does know this. So to kind of wrap up tonight's episode, in 2017, we thought that we were pregnant. We really were, but 2017 was the ectopic pregnancy.
Yeah.
Is that what they called it? Ectopic?
I think that's what they called it.
Anyway, whichever. I was pregnant but wasn't pregnant. My body formed a sac. My body did everything that it was supposed to do to create a child, but we later discovered that there was no child in the sac, and eventually miscarried and went through basically a false pregnancy. So that story is also for the completion of that story is also for another day.
Yeah, we'll pick it up next episode.
Yeah, we will.
Well,
So went through that and actually had a Hannah moment where I prayed actually one morning in preparation for getting ready for work, and the words of my prayer were, Lord, having a child for my birthday would be the dopest gift ever. And the following year, my birthday present arrived as a child. But as we continue to dive into the story of Hannah, we'll talk about that more.
oh yeah, I'm talking about y'all 10 days apart.
Yeah, we are. Literally.
Yeah, the same month.
She couldn't come on my birthday though.
Oh no, you said you were adamant that she was pregnant, y'all. And she was like, this baby is not coming on my birthday.
No, I did not want to be in the hospital on my birthday.
And we weren't. We were not. But we'll finish telling that.
We'll tell more of the story, and we'll continue with the infertility journey, the story of Hannah, how it all ties into kicking it with the Smiths.
Yeah. I mean, it was that story. I know for you especially was an encouragement and a really anchor for your faith.
It really was
when we were going through that. And for me, especially when we had the ectopic pregnancy, for me actually it was Abraham and Isaac.
Really?
Well, because in that moment, as I was upset and frustrated, I comforted my wife, but I was upset and frustrated. I remember praying, and I remember just thinking, okay, God, I don't know what to do. You know what you're doing. And I remember just being reminded and hearing God, like, what if that was Isaac? And what if you had to, because I was like, I still trust you, Lord, I still love you. Mm-hmm. What if you had to give me that? What if I asked you to sacrifice that?
Wow.
And I was like,
that's another story too.
I was like,
ooh, it's getting good.
So we'll get into that. But yeah, I mean, this, like we said, this probably couldn't cover everything in one session.
But if y'all stick around for the journey, you'll get to know a little bit more about us and
some of our journey.
Yeah, our journey, our successes, and the failures that got us to the successes.
Yeah, the highs and the lows. Because people, nobody knows everybody, but we hope that this helps somebody. It encourages you.
Exactly.
Please.
That is the purpose of kicking it with the Smiths.
Don't give up on God if you're trying to get pregnant. If you're married, you married. If you be married,
exactly. Please be married,
right? But don't give up. Even if you had a miscarriage or 2 or 3, we know people that have had more than one, have taken the fertility drugs and bats and in vitros, and don't give up on God and what He's able to do and how He may be able to do it.
Yes,
we'll say that
He's not going to give up on you.
No, it is hard when you're going through, but especially when you're going through with a spouse that believes God, that loves God, and that you love each other. Man, that makes a world of difference.
It sure does.
And we did, and it actually Well, I know we'll get into more. It was tough, but we love each other, and that definitely, our being grounded in Him and our faith really helped out.
It really did. It really did. So, as always, like, share, and subscribe.
Yep.
We're here to encourage you, and we hope that you have enjoyed another episode of # Kicking
It with the Smiths.